In Marvel Rivals, the psychological warfare doesn't start when the spawn doors open, it starts in the hero select screen. As someone who usually looks this game through a data-driven lens, I can confidently tell you that your proficiency icon is a massive psychological tell. Today, we are ranking the vibes of the people who play these characters. I'm going to break down exactly what I assume about your mental state, your ego, and your playstyle when I see you lock in a base icon versus a champion icon of your character. This is what your main says about you. Angela players. Ever since Angela came out, I haven't really seen many non-Lord Angelas. Most Angelas that I've seen are either Lord or Champion. But if you're not a Champion Angela, I don't see anything wrong with you, but I don't see anything crazy either. You normally don't run the lobby. You normally aren't very toxic. You're chill. You just want to play your character. There's nothing wrong with that. But you know, you don't contribute to the vibes. The vibes are not off. Champion Angela. Honestly, if I see a Champion Angela, I know I'm in for a good game, right? If there's a Champion Angela on my team, they probably know what the fuck they're doing, and they're probably harassing the enemy or peeling for my backline. She's not in a fun game tiers because I've seen some that are like toxic, and I recognize their names. But yeah, if you're a Champion Angela, you're pretty good vibes. Non-Champion Caps. I'm actually gonna say it's gonna be a fun game because half the time people that play their Cap know what they're doing, and I know a lot of tanks don't play Cap for no reason. They play Cap either for the ult or to help their team, and most of the time the base Caps are actually pretty chill because they're still learning the character, so they don't expect a lot from their teammates, and also they mind control people. Since this tier list is gonna be based on vibes, base Cap's pretty good. Base Cap's pretty good. I haven't seen a base Cap be toxic to me, or the enemy team. They haven't seen anyone get flamed for playing base Cap, you know? He's pretty chill. Champion Caps. I don't know, man. I'm putting Champion Cap below base Cap because I've seen some Champion Caps that literally all they know how to do is play Cap. But then as soon as something doesn't go their way, they just start blaming it on others. I haven't seen many Champion Caps, but from the Champion Caps I've seen, as soon as something doesn't go their way, they kind of just, they gotta start blaming you. But if everything's going good, then vibes are good. They do a good job. For Strange, you're chill. Base Stranges are chill. Most of the time, you're probably just filling, or you're just playing Strange because you're learning him. I don't expect to see you carrying games or doing well, but yeah, you're chill. It's kind of like with base Angela, you don't really see a lot of base Stranges unless you're swapping for TP anyways. So if you're hovering base Strange and Champion Select, I just assume that you're going to be swapping off this character, and you're just hovering him for like a team up or something. Champion Strange. Champion Strange is a weird one, because if you're Champion Strange, either you're like really good at Strange, and you land your ults, you have impact, you deal damage to the front line, or you carry the game. A lot of the Champion Stranges I've seen do that. There are the few that are really toxic to the team. This character is so strong, man. Why are they giving him all the good team ups? He got the Hulk team up at the beginning, he got the Invis team up, and he has the team up with the Magik and Scarlet Witch. Holy shit, man. He has all the good team ups. But yeah, if I see a Champion Strange, I know it's gonna be a good game most of the time. Base Emma, you're chill. I don't really see base Emmas carry games. You're probably just learning the character. Either that or you're picking base Emma to peel for your support. Chill, I don't see anything too crazy once again. Champion Emma. I don't know why, bro, but every time I see a Champion Emma in my games, they have an ego, man. They don't play well enough to have an ego, but most of the time they have an ego and they just ruin the vibes for everybody. Most of the time they're not mechanically gifted enough to have the ego for themselves, but also, this is just me, but also they're just really chungus, and they just take up so much resources without offering much in return, except for toxicity. So that's why I'm putting her in my vibes are off tier. Normal Groot. You're probably just filling. I'm not gonna lie. You're probably just filling. You're probably just playing Groot just because you can or you want to. But most of the time it's good vibes. I'll see normal Groots carrying every so often, but I also don't see them flaming their team a lot of the time. So most of the time it's pretty good vibes whenever I see a normal Groot. I won't be complaining to have a Groot because I know you're probably just going to be tanking all the CC and damage, because they're probably gonna swap Chugger to try and tree chopla you. Champion Groot. I actually haven't had a bad experience with Champion Groot yet. Most of the time, they're pretty friendly, and they also tend to do very well in-game as well. They do good walls most of the time. They're also not very toxic. They're a good addition to the team when I see one hover. Base Hulk. Base Hulk. If you're playing Hulk, you know how to have fun. The vibes are generally good. If I see a base Hulk, it's probably just someone that just wants to play for fun. Now, don't get me wrong. The reason why you're not in the best of vibes tier is because most base Hulks I see don't know a lot of advanced mechanics, or they don't peel for their team, or they're just missing that one key component. So, yeah, the vibes are good. I'll see base Hulks flaming a lot of the time. They're just learning the game, and there's nothing wrong with that. Champion Hulks. I want to put them in the greatest vibes tier, but I have to put them in the same tier as base Hulk. But probably above the cap, and honestly, probably the top of the good vibes tier. Because I love that Champion Hulks just know their character way better and just have really good game sets and know how to play. But sometimes they can be a bit toxic. They do crash out a bit, so that's why they're not in the top tier. But yeah, base Magneto. This one's a tough one, because most of the time, the base Magnetos I've seen are probably just the people filling, or they're on alt accounts, so I generally don't know, because I don't really see base Mags a lot nowadays. But most of the time, they're pretty good. When I do see a base Mag, I feel like they hit more shots. I don't know. They're less reliant on their character than the champion Mags, and I feel like most of the time, when I do see a base Mag in ranked, it's pretty good vibes, and I feel like they do hit their ults more consistently than Lord or Champion Mags, but that might just be me. Champion Mags, I mean, you're chill, bro. You're probably playing this character to fill, and you probably play a lot of Mag because you just have to flex tank a lot. But a lot of the time, I feel like these Champion Mags feel like they're entitled to be winning games because they're filling. Whenever Champion Mags ult, I feel like they just don't really hit their ults, or they don't hit their shots. Their positioning is bad on other characters, but since it's Meg, it's fine. But most of the time, if I see a champion Meg, you're chill. I don't really see them making game-winning plays a lot. I actually see normal Megs hit more of those crucial ultimates on the enemy support ults, or the enemy like Starlord Punisher ult. But yeah, you're chill. But you guys somehow have a crazy ego for no reason. Base Peni. I don't know, man. Every time I see a base Peni player, I put her in the get me out tier, literally just because this Peni character requires so many hours and just so much shit you just have to know and get used to, that I feel like whenever I see a base Peni on like a specific map where Peni is good, it's just better just to have another tank at that point, because they just don't play well. They kind of just take too much damage. They play Peni only for the specific map that they hover. They saw a better Peni player play her on that map, and they're just like, oh, this Peni character must be broken and meta on this map, so I'm gonna like play her only on this map. I don't know. Vibes are off. Most of the time, these players are toxic when something doesn't go their way, or they kind of just project the blame onto others. And most of the time, they're just better off picking their comfort tank pick, or hell, even DPS pick, than picking Peni. When I see a base Peni in my games nowadays, especially in competitive games, vibes are just off, and I just have a bad feeling about the game whenever I see this. But feel free to prove me wrong. Champion Peni. Honestly, you're chill. You're probably above base Meg or base Emma. Champion Meg. Your vibes are pretty good most of the time. Like, I don't see many toxic champion Peni players. No, I just don't like playing with or against Pennies. It has nothing to do with the player. It's just everything to do with the character. Because I feel like this character is designed in a way that it's not very interactive for both the enemy team and your team. Because most of the time you kind of just stand in your Peni nest and you just have to play around your Peni when she's on your team, and then when she's on the enemy team, we gotta break her nest and we gotta play around it. The DPS have to swap to like higher damaging DPS because they're running Peni. It is how it is. It's just the character itself is just not a very fun and well-designed character in this game, in my opinion. Rogue. Base Rogue. When you're playing base Rogue, most of the time you're hovering this. I just assume you want a Gambit team up and you kind of just want to shit fling. Honestly, I respect that. Most of the time, it's pretty good vibes if you're hovering base Rogue. I don't see many base Rogues nowadays. Most of the time, I just see Champion or Lord Rogues. But if you're in base Rogue, from what I've seen, the vibes are good. The character is pretty fun to play with because a lot of the time, she can deny the enemy support ults and also making space with her ultimate and puts pressure onto the enemy supports. She makes a lot of people look at her because of the sheer amount of raw damage output that Rogue has. She also functions as a sort of like pseudo peel tool sometimes. But most of the time with base Rogues, I haven't seen anything too bad from them, but they don't win games on their own. But if I see base Rogue, the vibes are up. Champion Rogue, honestly, I'm gonna put Champion Rogue just like slightly above. I'm gonna put Champion Rogue next to Champion Hulk here. Because same points as before for base Rogue, but I feel like the Champion Rogues just know what they're doing a bit more. Because they're champion, and like the champion status actually helps because I feel like Rogue is a character with a lot of tools in her kit, and I feel like you kind of do need the hours on this Rogue character to know what you're doing. Also, most of the time, the champion Rogues I've seen are not very toxic, but there is the odd Rogue player that does just start flaming her teammates for no reason when they start winning, so that's why I can't put her in a higher tier, but yeah, it's pretty good vibes. Base thing, honestly, you're pretty chill, man. I'm gonna put you right next to Groot here. You play base thing, you're not champion yet or lord yet. You're probably just trying to play to have fun or to peel your supports most of the time. The vibes are pretty good with thing players. Thing players aren't toxic most of the time, and they kind of just want to punch things, which I respect. The reason why they're not higher up is because they kind of just counter swap to this character, or when I see it, or if I see this in lobby select. You know how to have fun, but I feel like a lot of the time with base thing, no, I don't see you carrying the game with them. I'm just gonna say that. Vibes are really good for champion things. I don't know why, but I feel like the champion things, they're really chungus. Sometimes they throw, but I've never seen a toxic champion thing in my life. The champion thing players are just good vibes, in my opinion. Like, most of the time, they do just swap off to a better character when they do get counter swapped. But when they don't get counter swapped, they do pretty well for what their character can do, and a lot of the time they're positive mental and provide value for the team. Base Thor, I don't see base Thor a lot. Like I rarely ever see base Thor. Vibes are just a little bit off. It might just be me, but I've just seen people just pick base Thor whenever they're getting flamed on another tank. But that's just the thing. Thor's a pretty good character. He's just a chungus DPS. But the thing is, if you're base Thor in this patch, in this day and age, unless you're a new player and you're in my comp games, I genuinely don't know what to think. And I just assume that you're learning Thor and you kind of just don't know how to play him yet. And you're just spamming kidnaps on him. Well, yes, kidnaps are good, but with the new CC changes, kidnaps are not as valuable as they used to be. They proc the CC and they just don't off-angle enough. Champion Lord Thors. I'm gonna put them next to Cap. Most of the time, from my experience, Champion Lord Thors are just a little bit toxic, but they know how their character works, and they do provide good value. I see them land humongous ults a lot of the time, and I feel like this Thor character is just more pressure on both their frontline and backline, while also being kill pressure onto supports when need to. Base Venom. Base Venom players. Oh... Honestly, base Venom players are lit, bro. Whenever we see a base Venom player, most of the time, they know what they're doing to an extent, and they know when to get out. It's just that they just don't have that many hours on this Venom character, because most Venom players swap off when they get cyberbullied by the enemy team. And honestly, if they're cyberbullying you and you're not toxic about it, man, go right ahead. That just means less pressure onto me and the rest of the team. Same with Champion and Lord Venom. Same can be said for that. But for Champion and Lord Venom, I'm gonna put him next to Groot here. I don't know why Cap's so high up. But Champion and Lord Venom players do know the one-shot combo. And that's literally just why they're higher up compared to base Venom, and I really appreciate the space that Venom players make. I've seen a little bit of toxic Venom players, but like it's nothing too crazy. Oh my god, Black Cat. Okay, Black Cat players. I don't know, you're chill. I haven't had enough experience with Black Cat to know, but she's chill for now. I do know that many people do look at her a lot, so that's why I'm gonna actually put her up in your chill, because if I do have a Black Cat on my team, I know that they're probably going to be looking at my Black Cat, but most of the time they're toxic dive players, so that's why they're just, you're chill. Vibes aren't off. I believe you can still win. Yeah, you're just doing your thing. You just want to play your Black Cat character. Base BP. Man, base BP. I haven't seen base BP in eon. If I do see a base BP, honestly, you're probably pretty good at BP. You're either on an alt or just play a lot of Genji in Overwatch. But whenever I see a base BP, most of the time they're not very toxic, and they do pretty well, actually. I'm gonna put BP up in fun game, because I feel like this character just makes the enemy like full swap for him most of the time. The difference between base and champion BP is that most champion BPs just have more ego and they just have more play time. So that sometimes they're just champion because they love playing BP, but then they're stuck in the elo that they're at because all they do is play BP. So the vibes are good until they get hard counter swapped and they just don't know how to play anything else a lot of the time, or they're just trying to force it. But anyways, yeah, their mechanical skill is good, but BP is just not a very good character in this environment. That's why I'm actually ranking the base BP higher than the champion BP in terms of what like my positivity scale is when I see you in champion select or when I see you hovering this character. It's because I know the base BP is probably more likely to swap than a champion BP. Oh my god, the base Black Widow. I don't know, man. If you're hovering base Black Widow in my games, the vibes are just off. Either something really bad happened and pick ban, or your character got banned out. I've had a lot of games where people's characters have just been banned out by their own teammates, so they just hover the base Widow and that's all they play because a teammate banned their character. The vibes are just off, honestly. I haven't seen a base Black Widow in comp unless they were either given up, or just something happened. Champion Black Widows, honestly, the Champion Black Widows I've seen are pretty chill. I'm gonna put them next to Groot. The Champion Lord Black Widows I've seen just really like this Widow character, and I respect them for that. She's strong in the sense that she has one of the best CCs in the game, but then the character itself she's just not meant for rivals, because I feel like she's just clunky in the way her melee works, and then the Black Widow character itself should never be able to one-shot headshot, but then when you get damage booster, you can one-shot headshot with the mobility, so she just becomes a server admin. The character just feels poorly designed, in my opinion. And I'm not saying we should give her a one-shot headshot, but this Black Widow character needs adjustments to be made for her to be more viable. Can we lean her into her melee form a lot more instead? Honestly, she can have the rifle, but she can have the rifle. We can honestly make the rifle more like a body shot machine that can't headshot, and then just make it so she's like a hybrid melee like body shot machine, so you'd like body shot and swap into melee form. But that's just me. I feel like they kind of burned the kitchen down with this character, because you can't allow her to one-shot headshot in Rivals by herself, because I'll just break the balance of the game, love the game, and it'll just turn into Overwatch all over again. Base Blade, honestly, you're chill. I don't see anything too crazy. But when I see Base Blade most of the time, you're just learning the character to ranked, which I respect. Honestly, pretty good vibes. But the character itself is just really bad. Now, I've been playing Blade a lot, but there's just not many scenarios where you would pick Blade over other DPS characters. The lifesteal itself is pretty good if they don't have more than one person looking at you. The ult kind of sucks because they can just tank through it a lot of the time with support ults if they just like walk slightly out of the ult. And the charge up time doesn't do anything to the damage, so they kind of just spread out before Blade ults. The anti-heal's good if it's called, but most of the time they do just get enough help from their team to prevent themselves from getting bursted immediately. This Blade character is just not that good, but the people who play him play for fun, so yeah, that's pretty chill. I'm gonna put him right next. I'm gonna put a champion Blade next to Black Widow here. And then this Base Blade can be in the bottom of good vibes, because I know you're just here to play for fun, but what's it called? The character is just so ass in the sense that unless you're playing out of your mind or the enemy team just doesn't look at you, you kind of just die as Blade. Base Daredevil. You're chill. You're kind of just playing him because you want to have fun. Or you want to win. Sorry, most of the time you're playing him because you want to win. When I see a base Daredevil player, there's someone that wants to win and they're willing to have... They want to dive and win at the same time. The toxicity I've seen from base Daredevil players is kind of on par with everything else. Nothing too crazy though. If you do want to win, I respect that, but it isn't good vibes and bad vibes. The character itself is strong, so yeah. Champion Daredevil. Honestly, only reason why this is above base Daredevil is because I feel like most of the time the champion Daredevils just go crazy. Yeah, the champion Daredevils just have a tendency to go more crazy than the base Daredevils, and that's the reason why he's ranked higher. That's why most of the time when I do see a champion Daredevil, I know I'm probably in for an easier time because they're just looking at the champion Daredevil a lot of the time. Elsa. Bro. Whenever I don't know, man. I just don't like playing with or against this character. Because I just feel like this character's ultimate is just poorly designed, and the amount of mobility that Elsa has from her shift after getting enough stacks, it's just too much, man. I feel like every time I see a Elsa player, whether that be base Elsa or even worse champion or Lord Elsa, I just feel like they're just really toxic to their team. They're playing to win, yes, and they're playing a really good character. Yes, I agree with that, but most of the time I ban Elsa, and if you're on my team, I can't ban Elsa because I don't want to ban your character. I could ask nicely to ban your character, but like that just ruins the vibes, you know? That just ruins the atmosphere of the whole team. So I don't do that. But I don't like playing with or against this character, period. Honestly, it's not as bad as like the base Peni or base Black Widow hover, but holy shit, man. I just don't like this character. I feel like she's way too overtuned for what she does. And I just feel like she's too easy to get value out of with her ult. The counterplay is way more coordination in a ranked environment than it is to play this character and just run lobbies with her. Base Hawkeye players. You're chill. I don't see base Hawkeye players a lot. If you're playing Hawkeye nowadays, I expect they're mostly lords or champions. And I don't really see base Hawkeye players, so I'm just gonna put them in the chill category. This Hawkeye character in general is just very not fun to play against. But when you're on my team, holy, I love playing with a Hawkeye player. Most of the time, the enemy team's focus is just prioritized on the Hawkeye, and I have free reign on my other characters to do whatever the fuck I want. I'm gonna put the champion Hawkeye with next to Emma here, though. The Lord or Champion Hawkeye players, holy shit, they have crazy amounts of ego, and they do expect a pocket most of the time. They're probably pretty good at Hawkeye, but most of the time they have a unrestrained ego, and they kind of just ruin the vibes of the team as a whole. Hela. Base Hela, you're chill. You're next to Black Cat here. Most of the time, base Hela players, they're pretty good at what they do. They're the epiphany of they're gonna aim and kill people. But the reason why they're not in good vibes is because like 30 to like 50% of the time, these Hela players, man, they're just hella toxic for no reason, man. Like if you're winning a fight, they'll just, or like winning a game, they'll just flame for no reason. It's even worse for Champion or Lord Hellas. They're right next to Lord or Champion Hawkeye here, because I feel like the Lord or Champion Hellas nowadays, they just feel worse than the base Hellas. I feel like both their mechanics are worse somehow, and I also feel like that they're just more toxic than base Hellas. I don't know. It might just be something that I've experienced, but that's what I've seen so far. The reason why they're not Get Me Out is because they're not actively throwing my game, and they're not playing a character that I hate that much. No, the champion Hell is just, it's just a sight to behold, man. If you're playing Torch, you're probably chill. If you're Lord or Champion Torch, bro, I know it's gonna be a fun game, because most of the time they're gonna be looking at you. You know what you're doing. You can avoid a lot of shit. The character's pretty good if you know how to play him too. Especially with the new shift buff, which gives him 2 dashes. This Torch character becomes a very good character. This character does damage, can burst through support ults with combos, and also provides a lot of pressure, but if it's played correctly. What sucks though is that not many people play Torch, and most of the time these base Torches only play Torch when he's meta. But man, if you're Lord or Champion Torch, bro, I respect that shit, bro. Iron Fist. This Iron Fist character is, I'm gonna be honest, bro. This Iron Fist character is ass. I don't know what else to say. This Iron Fist character is ass, but most of the time when I do play with Iron Fist, it's pretty good vibes. They make a shitload of space, and and Iron Fist does melt tanks. Would I rather play with a base Iron Fist than a Black Cat? Yeah. Would I rather play with a base Iron Fist than a Human Torch? Probably not. I'll probably put them and Blade together. Champion Iron Fist? Honestly, I'm putting you next to Cap and Thor here. Character's ass, but you actually, most of the time I don't see Iron Fist flaming, and they actually provide a lot of value to the team in that they can do everything. They peel for supports, they can sometimes win team fights on their own if if they double support ulted or stuff like that. They can peel tanks. They're really good against tanks, and they take off angles and make space and provide pressure relief for the tanks. The Iron Fists I've seen don't really flame a lot, so the vibes are good when I see Iron Fist. Even though the character's ass, the vibes are good. Base Iron Man. I don't see base Iron Man a lot nowadays, but when I do, you're chill. I'd rather take a base Iron Fist than Iron Man, just because of the nature of Iron Man, because this Iron Man character needs so much pocket to do well on most of the time, and unless they're just not looking at you for whatever reason. The reason why you're not higher up in the positivity meter is because I feel like this Iron Man character just requires too much pocket, and also because if you're playing base Iron Man, you probably don't know what you're doing, but you're pretty chill. I don't know why, bro, but man, these Lord and Champion Iron Mans just rub me the wrong way. It's the same thing as base Iron Man, but with the added point of the vibes are just off about them. Like, I don't know why, but they just start like mental booming mid-game. Like they're not like toxic per se, but they just kind of give up mid-game a lot of the time. If something doesn't go their way, they kind of like swap to like Black Widow or some shit. I've seen a couple that are pretty good, but yeah, they take up too many resources to have versus the value they provide, and most of the time they're played in like a triple support. This Iron Man character is cool and all. I like the theme of him, but Jesus Christ, your team needs those resources, man. And also, a lot of the time these guys just mental boom, and I don't know why. Their mentals are just not strong. Magik. Honestly, every time I see a Magik player, they're pretty good. I'm putting champion Magik down here. I'm putting base Magik here. Because a lot of the time, if you're playing Magik and you're playing base Magik, a lot of the time you're just on an alt, or you know what you're doing, and you don't really flame a lot. You don't really flame a lot. You take a lot of pressure off of your tanks, and you also tend to force a lot of ults and deal a lot of damage at the same time. I have no complaints. I see Beast Fantastic and pick Ben. That's the same as seeing Iron Fist, honestly. If you're champion Mr. Fantastic, you're probably pretty chill on the Fantastic character, but I'm gonna actually put the Lord or Champion Fantastic down and you're chill. You're, like, you don't carry games. This Fantastic character is pretty good in this meta, honestly, but I feel like, I don't know why, but I feel like the Champion and Lord Fantastics just feel more entitled than the base Fantastics. Because I feel like whenever I say base Fantastic, it's either to swap to peel or they're just playing to have fun. And I feel like whenever I see the Lord Fantastic or the Champion Fantastic, they're just more entitled. As in, they kind of just expect the team to always know what they're doing, which is fair, but it's realistically, that's not going to happen in a ranked situation. And I feel like most of the time, these guys just kind of just swap off after a bit, which is fair. Something about them just feels off. I'm putting base Fantastic higher up in the vibes here than the champion ones, because a lot of the time, even the champion ones don't really know what they're doing, and they expect a lot of help on a character that should not need many resources at all. The base Fantastic players know when to swap off, and also somehow tend to know what they're doing, and they're less toxic most of the time. These Lord Moon Knight players, man, I'm putting them right next to the Hawkeye and Hela. I swear to God, these champion Moon Knight players are carried, bro. They're just so carried by their character. It's crazy. Ever since the damage buff on Moon Knight, I feel like this character just plays itself. A lot of the time, you can get value on Moon Knight just by spamming the down chokes in the general direction and just saving your onks for whenever you need to burst or peel. The reason why I'm putting champion Moon Knight vibes are off and base Moon Knight to good vibes is that I know that the base Moon Knight player is probably not a Moon Knight player, but they'll probably do just as well, if not better, than the champion Moon Knight player. Honestly, there isn't really a lot of thinking into Moon Knight, it's just a lot of aim. For champion Moon Knight, I don't know why, but it's the same thing with champion Fantastic. I just feel like they're just really entitled, and they just feel like because their numbers are so high and the damage, and sometimes you get like fraudulent kills by bouncing the onks off of other people. I just feel like the champion Moon Knight players just leave a bad impression on me. Namor. The Fishman himself. Honestly, I like seeing a Namor on my team. I'm gonna put champion Namor here. I'm gonna put the base Namor in good vibes. It's just something to do with champions. I just feel like they just feel like they're just more entitled to stuff that things that they shouldn't be entitled to. I've had a champion Namor leave the game or just start throwing the game, literally just because this guy didn't get healing by his backline that was getting dove one time. For one fight, Namor as a character is a character that I like playing with. I don't like playing against him, but I like playing with Namor because those squids provide so much space and value, it's ridiculous. Oh, Phoenix. I don't know, man. Vibes are off with this character. Like, this character is good and all, but it's just the people, bro. It's just the people that I see playing this character. Whenever I see someone playing this character unranked, and they literally don't care about anything else but winning, which is fair in itself. But the way that they go upon doing that is by being toxic to the teammates and the enemies on the other team. Whenever I see a Phoenix, they're mainly the yapper. I don't know, man. The character's so strong, but the people playing her are just not real most of the time. And they could climb, but they're just toxic players. I'm actually gonna move Champion Phoenix more up here because I feel like, I don't know why, the Champion Phoenix players have a lot more sensibility than the base Phoenix players. Psylocke. Yeah, I don't see much of a difference between base Psylocke and Champion Lord Psylocke. They're chill. I don't see anything too crazy. The Champion Psylocke do have that ego streak that I see most of the time. They're more likely to be toxic than base Psylocke players for some reason. But the character is good, but I don't know, the vibes are just off for them. I'll put base Psylocke up here. I'd rather see a base Psylocke than a Lord Champion Fantastic or Iron Man any day. Whenever I see the Lord or Champion, though, holy shit, the vibes are just off. I think because these characters are just so strong, these guys just develop like some kind of ego, man. They just have this entitlement to them. Vibes are just off. Scarlet Witch. Base Scarlet Witch, man. Vibes are off. If you're Lord or Champion, you probably know what you're doing. I'll take you over the Lord Fantastic any day. I feel like most of the time, they know the character is like not the best for high elo, but they make it work. But most of the time, the reason why base Scarlet Witch is down here is because most base Scarlet Witches don't even play Scarlet Witch, or they're just on the character for the team up or to throw. So that's why she's actually like below Elsa in this tier. Base Spider-Man. Most of the time, this is just a Lord Spider-Man or Champion Spider-Man masquerading a base Spider-Man to not get flamed. And honestly, I fuck with that. I'm gonna put him next to Blade here, because depending on the Spider-Man player, I'm actually gonna put both Spider-Mans here. I'm gonna put the Lord Champion down here because they're less self-conscious of who their character is, and they kind of just flame their team a lot. But most base Spider-Mans don't do that, and they take off, and they're actually just a champion Spider-Man with the base Spider-Man icon. The vibes are good, and they're probably pretty good too, but I just feel like the Lord or Champion Spider-Man just lack that basic self-awareness. Squirrel Girl. I don't know, man. It's the same with Elsa for this Champion Squirrel Girl. Like, if you're playing Squirrel Girl and you're not a Champion or Lord, bro, I respect that, bro. Honestly, I respect that. But holy shit, if I see a Champion Squirrel Girl in my lobbies, for some reason, I know that they're just gonna, like, get dove and they're just not gonna swap and know how to deal with it. They're not, like, toxic in a sense, but they just aren't aware a lot of the time. But the base Squirrel Girls have a higher chance to swap, and they're also, the vibes are good when they do get dove. Because they know they're playing a bad character by community standards. The base Squirrel Girl players are more likely to swap and less likely to flame. Starlord, honestly, bro, if you put on base Starlord, you do well in my games most of the time, and you don't flame. Like, it might be an alt or something, like with Magik. Now, most Starlord players are pretty chill. There's just the odd ones that are toxic. They are entitled most of the time, but when they ask for stuff, they ask for it nicely most of the time. But the reason why that the champion is lower than the base is because those are more likely to be toxic. They're just more egotistical, and like with Spider-Man, the base Starlord, I feel like is just hiding the fact that they're champion Starlord most of the time, or they're an alt account. If you're champion Starlord, you probably do pretty well in your games, but I feel like most of the time you're just toxic. That's just my opinion. Storm. Okay, I've had one bad interaction with a Storm player. Honestly, I enjoy the buffs that Storm gives you. Most base Storm players do just swap off when it isn't working, but the buffs that Storm gives you are pretty fucking good. And if I know I have a Storm player, I know they're looking at them and not me. Punisher. Base Punisher players are chill. They know when to swap. They're just playing Punisher mostly to peel the Chungus Hulk thing dives. I'll put next Blade. I'll put next Namor here, actually. They're mostly peeling the Chungus tank dives on the supports most of the time, so I have no qualms about that. And their vibes are pretty chill. They swap off when they need to. The Lord Punishers. The Lord Punishers are right next to Lord Iron Man for me, bro. These guys, same problem with Iron Man. They just require too much pocket. And honestly, I'm putting them under these guys because they're as toxic as Hela, Phoenix, Hawkeye players when things don't go their way and they don't get enough pocket. Base Bucky, I don't know. For some reason, the base Bucky players I feel like are just better than the champion Bucky players. Like the champion Bucky players, they're chill, and more often I feel like the base Bucky players just end up running away with the game more than the champion Bucky players, and they have less ego. It's kind of the thing with Spider-Man again, where like the base Bucky player just knows when to swap off, or they just swapped off their Lord portrait because everyone has like Lord or Champion Bucky nowadays. But if you're Lord or Champion, your character is good, you provide damage. I'd rather have a Bucky than a Champion Starlord or a Psylocke, but I'd rather have a Spider-Man, Lord Spider-Man, Champion Spider-Man, or a base Daredevil than a Champion Bucky. Character is good. He peels, he does damage. The champion Buckies just have more ego. Oh, Wolverine? The Wolverines I've seen are pretty chill. And the Wolverine is a pretty good character as a whole. I'm gonna put him here. Actually, yeah, I'm gonna put the base Wolverine down here. I'll put him next to Angela. Because I don't see base Wolverines much, and most of the time it's just people swapping to base Wolverine to bully tanks once they've had enough. But the Lord and Champion Wolverines are pretty good. They make a lot of space, they put pressure on tanks. They're sometimes a little bit toxic, but that's very rare. The reason why they're not higher up is that they do have an ego sometimes. Like, you do, every so often you meet the Lord or Champion Wolverines with an ego, and it's just not fun to play when they're tilted. That's it. Honestly, Atom players are base, man. If I see a base Atom or a Lord Champion item, Atom... actually, I'm gonna put the Champion item just a little bit down, because there are some terrorists in the ladder that have Lord or Champion Atom, and they just kind of just insta-lock in. They play it into everything, which is fair, because I think you should be able to play most characters into everything. But then they only swap to Lord or Champion Atom to play triple support, and I feel like it just forces the enemy team to play triple support as well, so then it's just a triple support mirror. But if you're base Atom and you're just filling, man, I respect that shit, and you should get to play Atom, and I know we might lose this game, right, but I know it's gonna be a fun game. Cloak and Dagger, oh my god, bro. Oh my god, the duality of man. Or the duality of Cloak and Dagger, man. Jesus Christ. I feel like these Lord or Champion Cloak and Daggers just have no idea what they're doing, and they just have way too much they just expect to get shielded when they're like in the middle of the enemy team after 3 dashes. The Lord or Champion Cloak and Daggers I've seen literally don't respect the Meg ults or the Iron Man ult whenever they ult. They just expect to get bubbled or shielded, or they just scream that character's broken or whatever. There's mental boom. The base Cloak and Daggers, on the other hand, are probably just other support players or like flex players playing Cloak and Dagger, and they know, because they play the other characters, they know to play around the ults that the enemies might have when you're Cloak and Dagger ulting, or just to ask for bubblers or a shield or something, or like go back to the team whenever you want to get shielded or something. It's just night and day difference. If you're playing support, I've way more respect for you, but holy shit, the Champion Lord Cloak and Daggers, man, they're both entitled, and they just gotta fix this one thing, and they just gotta be less Chungus, and it'll be fine, right? But they just mental boom a lot of the time. Character's not that hard either. Like, most of the characters' abilities are auto-aim, and the character's absolutely busted. I don't know, it's just the people playing them are just so goddamn entitled. Gambit. Actually, I don't like playing with Lord or Champion Gambits because this is my permaban. Vibes are okay if you're playing base Gambit. Most of the time, you would ban Gambit yourself. You're kind of just hovering base Gambit just to cover him, I guess, because you want to play him. I just don't like playing with Gambit because the Gambit games make it super hectic, and it's just really snowbally, and those games are just not fun to play. Invis. Base Invis?
Good vibes. You're probably pretty chill. Lord, you're probably pretty chill and you know how to have fun. You're not very entitled. Champion Invis, you're chill. But I just feel like a lot of these guys are just carried by their character and they just don't know how to peel for themselves, or they just don't know how to position a lot of the time. And it just makes it very hard for the team to peel for them, because they would always kite back, and then when they don't get peeled, when they're kiting farther away from the midline or the front line, it's just hard to peel for them. The reason why their non-vibes are off is that they mental boom, but they don't mental boom that often. They are playing a support at the end of the day, so I'm gonna cut them some slack. I'll put them in like Hawkeye, Spiderman tier. Jeffrey, I actually really like playing with Jeff. I think Jeff players are fun. I'm actually gonna put Lord and Champion Jeff higher, because a lot of the time they know when they can get away with ulting and when they can't. When I see base Jeff, a lot of the time they kind of just like go for all the eats and they just die a lot of the time. So I'm gonna put him next to Squirrel Girl here. But playing with the Jeff is fun because most of the time the Jeff player is not very toxic. He also provides extra damage to the team, so it's more pressure onto their team as well, with the threat of the Jeff ult. Because whenever Jeff ults, there's actually quite a bit of space because of racism towards Jeff specifically. Like, not even when the Jeff eats, it's just whenever they hear the Jeff ult noise, they just Meg ult, and then they just waste a Meg ult for no reason. So I find that pretty funny, and I have a lot of respect for Jeff players. Loki, I like having Loki on my team. Most of the time they don't flame, they know what they're doing. The vibes are pretty good. The character's strong. Yeah, I have no qualms about Loki. Okay, Luna Snow. Oh my god, more buffs to Luna Snow. Every time I see this character, she gets buffed, and holy shit. If you're playing base Luna Snow, honestly, pretty good vibes. We're on rogue tier, so the character is strong. You heal a lot, you deal a lot of damage, but holy shit. I for some reason, I feel like the Lord and Champion Lunas, unless you're like really cracked, they just die to everything, man. Even with peel, these guys just don't know how to position, and they expect a little bit too much. When they're getting doped by one person, they expect like 3 to 4 people to turn around, which is just not realistic in a ranked queue scenario. But I'm thankful that they're playing support, so they're pretty chill. Mantis. Honestly, most Mantis players are chill. I'm just gonna put the base Mantis in good lower than Lord Mantis, because I feel like Lord Mantis is, holy shit, they can name, bro. They can fuck me up, bro. Whenever I dive or play like any sort of brawl character. What's it called? I really appreciate the damage boost. Honestly, not even that bad. And the players that play Mantis themselves are pretty good at the game, and it's kind of like having more damage as a trade for less frontline healing. Rocket. Base Rocket, you'll be fine with Jeff there. Lord Rocket, I don't know, man. You're down there with the Gremlins. For whatever reason, these Champion and Lord Rocket players, they just expect too much. They like put their ults in like the middle of the open and it instantly gets shot. And half the time, they're just spamming heal balls and like in the general direction, and not even like direct hitting people. They're playing the game on easy mode and they're not really thinking. Most of all, they're also just really toxic. I don't know why, but they're just entitled and toxic at the same time. Ultron players are chill. Not like the character itself doesn't provide much healing, but IMO, that's just a skill issue on the tank's part. But the Ultron players I've seen that hover Ultron in champ and hero pick ban are pretty nice people, and also they kind of just want to play their character, man, and I respect that. The reason why he's not higher is because he, once again, just like Adam, whenever someone sees him, they just swap to a third support, so it's triple support mirror, and that's just not fun to play. White Fox, you know how to have fun on support if you're base White Fox. I'm grateful and all they're playing support. It's not even that this is a bad tier, alright. I just have this negative connotation that goes with them, because I just think that these guys just played way too much, because this is the season right after White Fox came out,
And I just feel like these guys just have Lord or Champion, and they just feel more entitled. Deadpool. I'm gonna... Deadpool players. Honestly, if I see a Deadpool player, it's probably a pretty good vibe all around. I don't see Deadpool players flaming a lot of the time. This goes for all 3 roles of Deadpool. Most of the time when I do see a Lord or Champion Deadpool, they're pretty good at what they do, and they kind of just want to have fun. And that's the definitive, highly scientific breakdown of the Marvel Rivals Hero Select screen. If your main ended up in the vibes are off tier, I'm not apologizing, but I am asking you to stop mental moving after losing one team fight. Let me know in the comments about how exactly I am wrong about your main, or who you actually think belongs at the very bottom of the list. Make sure to subscribe if you want more content like this, and I'll catch you in the next one.